Hi, you're on the board with Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. I want to look at some worldview battles in this segment. Family Research Council, prophecynewswatch.com. If candidates guided by unbiblical worldviews are elected, Christians can expect their freedom to live according to their beliefs to come under fire. George Barna of Barna Research recently said the consequence of all this, given the last election, is that we've got a choice between trying to have the freedoms that will allow us to live in accordance with a biblical worldview, or to live in a society where that freedom is taken away from us because of the option or the options being put on the table. Barna's research is a sobering reminder of the state of the biblical worldview in America. He said when he began worldview research 25 years ago, 12% of Americans held a biblical worldview. That's shocking. Today, that number is number 6, and it's on a trajectory that's not promising. So, how did all that happen? Well, for starters, conservative Christians have largely underestimated the importance of worldview and how early one's worldview is formed. Barna's research shows a person's worldview develops between 15 to 18 months of age and extends through age 13. This means, according to Barna, that your worldview is almost fully formed by the time you get to high school, at least by the time you're in your 20s. Over time, we kind of reshape it and tinker with it, but it really is in place by the time you get into your teens. So the work of worldview discipleship is vital for Christians serious about influencing elections and public policy. In many ways, he writes, if we clean up that worldview issue, everything else is going to fall into place. And that's really the key domino on the board. And the key component to changing America's worldview trajectory is biblical discipleship. Understanding this is key in terms of a parent's primary responsibility to raise their children in the nurture and admonition of the Lord, if you want your children to grow to be spiritual champions. It's the local church's job to equip, to support the parents in doing it. It's not the church's job to do it. But the reality is that people do in harmony with what they believe. The same holds true for how we engage politically. For example, someone whose worldview believes humanity was created by intelligent design will think about questions related to life and human dignity very differently than someone who believes human beings are the result of random chance and natural selection. Christians whose worldview is shaped by Scripture believe all people, born and unborn, are made in the image of God and have inherent value and dignity. Therefore, many Christians advocate for pro-life policies in the public square. This connection between worldview and politics is underscored in Barna's recent study. As he noted, the 2020 election was not about personalities, not about parties, not even about politics. Like so many of our elections, this one was about determining the dominant worldview in America. And Americans with a biblical worldview are currently in the minority. That is according to Barna's finding. Our prayer is that families across America would take Barna's study to heart and commit to teaching their children a biblical worldview. That the church would stand boldly for truth and support families in their discipleship of the next generation. And that we would all vote this fall for leaders who will preserve and protect the right to live out convictions based on a biblical worldview. You can find this whole article on Family Research Council website.